blames Bianca Devins for her own murder by an incel and then tries to delete the video. Tom.
And as for Bianca and what happened to her, it's obviously disgusting to say that she got what she deserved. She did not deserve to be murdered for what she did. However, is it completely unreasonable to question whether or not she contributed to the likelihood of this happening? Bianca was effectively an e-prostitute who was selling nude pictures of herself to men and leading on a number of them, and using them for her own gratification. She recklessly promoted an image of herself online that attracted a pretty gross crowd of people.
Is one node in a particular web of commentary, drama recap, and reaction channels. Tom, Sensitive Society, WestJett, More Pegasus, Achido, Think Before You Sleep. There's a billion of these guys cross-referencing and reacting to each other's content like one big, incestuous, very apolitical family. Foreshadowing. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. These are just dumb guys making dumb videos about more dumb guys and dumb internet drama. They are not worth taking seriously, let alone making a video
2 hours, 16 minutes, 36 seconds
long talking about them. And to that I say, you're right about it being dumb. However, you're wrong about it being not important. That dismissal is exactly the problem, because it is the genre's primary defense mechanism, just like all the pseudo-intellectuals and gamer chuds whose content, through the conventions of their genre, participate in an ecosystem that functions as important infrastructure in the pipeline to radicalization. And Tom's name in that manifesto is the smoking gun I knew would show up eventually. The moment you call this content trivial, you have already accepted the framing that makes it effective, and ignoring them allows them to thrive. Like something else I'm having a hard time thinking of right now. What was it? I feel like it was important.
Donald Trump is the president of the United States.
This radicalization occurs not because any individual creator intends it, although it sure seems like some do, but because the structure of their content systematically normalizes the preconditions that radicalization requires. And I think this is serious because these channels are not fringe. They have millions of subs and millions of views from their audience that is overwhelmingly terminally online young men, which is the exact demographic most vulnerable to this kind of thing. Like me, shooter specifically named. But the mechanisms I'm documenting here are genre-wide, which is why we're going to be hearing from all sorts of spirited individuals along the way. And in case any of these guys happens to see this video, because I know they're constantly desperate for relevancy, let me give you some react faces for the unflattering thumbnail that you'll probably put me on. We good? Cool, you're welcome. Now, to prove I'm not pulling all this out my ass, research. A prominent academic model for understanding radicalization is psychologist Ari Kruglanski's 3N framework, which identifies 3 converging factors. Need, the individual's quest for personal significance, the desire to matter and be respected. Narrative, the ideological framework that channels that need towards a specific cause. And network, the community that validates the narrative and rewards adherence to it. Kruglanski's research has demonstrated that the need for significance is universal, but becomes an acute driver of extremism when triggered by experiences of failure, rejection, humiliation, or social exclusion. The need itself is ideologically agnostic, very important. It is the narrative and the network that determines which direction the radicalization takes. Complementing this is Luke Munn in Online Radicalization, Normalization, Acclimation, and Dehumanization. Munn emphasized that the digital ecosystem enables this process through a dense spectrum of right to far right spaces that offer a set of waypoints, allowing users to transition to more politically extreme environments without a sense of cognitive dissonance. I think this is a great way of describing a pipeline because so many people, like some we're going to talk about, imagine a radicalization pipeline to be a consistent linear escalation of rhetoric, when in reality, it's much more about the interconnectivity of many nodes with varying degrees of rhetoric. This structure allows people to bounce between said nodes easily because radicalization is about cracking their psyche to be susceptible to more and more extreme ideas over time through repetition and isolation. It's not just as simple as turning up the racism dial, even though some people really do make it look effortless. Research on everyone's favorite group of guys, the manosphere, has also further documented how spaces not explicitly coded as political serve as recruitment environments. Shergill and Quoward demonstrated how gaming platforms like Discord, Twitch, and Steam are leveraged by extremists for radicalization and recruitment, while research on Gamergate